Hey guys, it's been a couple weeks since I uploaded my last video. The reason why is we're in the middle of renovating our basement, and that's typically where I'm filming and editing my videos, and so that area's been out of commission. And during a remodel there's always parts of the house that are unusable for a little bit, and because of that I just haven't been as motivated to make a video. But the more I thought about it, I thought this could be an opportunity to explain why I decided to flip a house and what my experience has been so far. The first question might be, well, where did this idea to even do this come from? Well, it all started many years ago when I used to watch the HGTV shows like Fixer Upper, Flip or Flop, or even way before that I was like Trading Spaces or Extreme Makeover Home Edition, and I always thought it was so fun to watch those shows and see what they were able to do to make an old crappy house look nice. And so I just slowly got interested in what house flipping was all about. And then later, as I got older and it became more of a serious idea, I started reading real estate investing books, listening to real estate investing podcasts, and even attending local real estate events in my area. I had looked at homes for years before we ended up buying this one that I'm in right now, but the timing was never right with some of the other homes, and the funding was complicated. Without going into too much detail about funding and why it's so complicated, when you're dealing with lenders, they want a neat package outlining how much money you'll need to do the project, like what is it going to cost to get the house, how much money is going to go into renovation, and after it's renoed, how much are other homes that have been remodeled going for in the area. They want to know all that information so that they can feel like their investment is secure. That was just difficult for me to do, having no construction experience and not having a good contact for a general contractor. I'm in Utah, and a lot of the homes are going within a week, sometimes even a few days. So it's really hard to get someone into a house you haven't even bought and get them to estimate what the costs are going to be to rehab the house. The right opportunity finally came just this last summer. My wife and I were in a position to use the equity from our last home that we sold, and we just thought, let's take a risk and give flipping a shot. So we were able to buy this house under market value from a couple that sadly was going through a divorce, and a few of their deals had gone through and they were just ready to move on, and so we were able to get it at a discount. The home was built in the 1920s, so it's really old. Even though it had been updated here and there since then, it still needed a lot of work. We've been working on it since we closed on the house in July. And so far we've remodeled one of the bathrooms, added a master bathroom, turned part of the living room into another bedroom. We've carpeted the upstairs. We've remodeled the basement. Well, not quite done, but we're going to be done probably at the end of this month. And then we've made some updates to plumbing and electrical and added another bathroom. So we've done a lot of work so far. And here are my thoughts so far on the whole process and project. First thing is, if you're going to flip a house, either do it before you have kids or after they've left the house, or in a home that you don't currently live in, because adding a kid into the mix just throws a huge wrench into flipping a house. You can't leave your sharp tools around. It's difficult to work on the house when they're awake, because they're interested in what you're doing and they get into things. And it's even more difficult when they're sleeping, because you're trying to be quiet, but most construction, you're screwing things into a wall, you're hammering things, you're making a lot of noise, and so it's just hard to do that around a kid. 2, remodeling a house is messy. When you're knocking things down and adding things, it gets dirty all the time. Stuff's under plastic, you have to move it and put it into a garage. So just get used to using a shop vac and a mop very often, and cleaning things that you've already cleaned 100 times. 3, living with half of your belongings either covered up or constantly being moved or in storage is exhausting and extremely frustrating, because you never feel settled in. You're just like, it's almost like you're in a home that you never feel like you're actually living in, and you just tend to lose things really easily, especially small things. They're always getting misplaced, and it's just frustrating that way. But a positive of all that is flipping a house teaches you what you actually need and what extra space is kind of a luxury and what you can do without, because we've really learned, even though this is a 2,000 square foot house, majority of the time we've been in it, there's only been about 1,000, maybe less of that square feet that's actually been livable. And we've been able to do it. It's not been ideal, but you just kind of learn what you actually need and what you could do without. 5, don't do this if you don't enjoy construction. You'll have to talk yourself into every project. That's coming from experience. Like, if you're already not one of those guys or girls that likes doing little things like fixing the light bulbs or, building a shelf or painting a wall or even like little projects like that, or if you're not the type of person that wants a shop one day, you're probably not going to enjoy flipping a house. I mean, it's just a lot of work and construction, and if you're not a project person, you're just not going to enjoy it. Which kind of leads me to my next point, which is 6. Some projects are just worth hiring out. Like, you could do them yourself, but you're not going to save that much money, and some of these professionals can get in and out in days, where the same project might take you weeks because you don't have the same tools that they do. It's just important to maybe quote some of this out, which is my next point. Point number 7 is, like, when you're going to hire something out, get multiple quotes, because on some of the things we've quoted out, like plumbing or even some of the demo and sheetrock, it's varied by thousands of dollars what people were willing to do the project for. So that's a huge savings of just making an extra few phone calls. If that's going to save you, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, like that's a big deal. So number 8 is, there are both expensive parts of a remodel that add little value to the house, and cheap parts of a remodel that can make a huge difference in price. And what I mean by that is, like, you can do some things like rerouting plumbing or adjusting walls. Sometimes it can end up being really expensive and really don't add that much value to the home, in terms of, like, when someone's walking through it, there's not a perceived value there.
We are in the room. Okay. Open your eyes and see your new family room.
Wow.
Well,
but painting a room that might cost $50 might make that room look way better than what it was and add thousands of dollars to the value of the home, perceived value from potential buyers. Which leads kind of to the next point. With all the money involved here, flipping can be really lucrative. Like in our case, with all of our homes, they've been the best financial investment we've made. And this home, when we're done with it, if the market were to stay exactly how it is right now and not even go up, we'd essentially be doubling our net worth when we sell this home. So it's going to be a good payoff in the end. And with that being said, like, my 10th point is just if you're going to flip a house, don't try and do it alone. Like, we've just learned that there are so many kind, generous people in our lives, family, friends, neighbors, that are just willing to help, that are excited for us, whether it's chipping in on the demo work or walking us through how to do something like grout or tile, or how to frame. People that have given us their tools or bought tools for us, babysitting, moral support. I mean, the list goes on. You really learn that, like, people have your back. And even though I really do not like the whole construction process, like, I still feel an obligation now to help somebody else out that might be going through this in the future, just because I've been so appreciative of the people that have helped me. Anyways, that's been my experience so far. We're not done flipping the house yet. We still have some budget left and that we need to decide what we want to do with. If we want to redo the kitchen and a few other things, but So far, I'm really glad that we decided to take this on. Obviously, financially, it's going to be a huge payoff, and even though like it's hard to start doing some of the projects sometimes, even if it's not something I'll ever want to do again, like it wasn't a waste of time, and I've learned a lot of valuable things from this. And it's hard. Like, I'll just admit it's difficult when you have a kid and you got work and you're trying to do all these things and your house is always a mess and there's, your belongings are never settled in. Like it just adds strain and stress to your marriage, but it's also been good because we've just realized what hard work can do and what we can live without. And I'm just really appreciative of the experience. And I don't think flipping a house is for everybody, but if you're interested, yeah, let me know what kind of questions you have about flipping a house, or if you've done it yourself. And I'd love to hear your experiences if they're anything like mine, if they're relatable. It's definitely not Chip and Joanna, I'll tell you that. So with that,